Hey guys, if you're not subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and hit that like button on the video. And if you don't have time to watch this episode right now, no problem, but I'd really appreciate it if you would save it to your watch later playlist.
So the latest move is, it's a real game changer, ending legal status for over 530,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, and Venezuela. Yeah, it's turning heads everywhere.
Absolutely. It's like suddenly hundreds of thousands of lives are in limbo, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like, a domestic policy bombshell mixed with international repercussions. And the whole concept of legal immigration is getting a major shakeup.
Yeah, definitely. So when you look at it, Trump's decision seems to be a part of a broader crackdown, right? What do you make of the timing and scale of it?
Well, it's interesting. It's like this decision isn't made in a vacuum. The optics and the political messaging are front and center here.
Yep,
it's a clear
exactly.
signal emphasizing a hard stance on migration.
But isn't it a bit extreme? I mean, ending legal status for such a huge number. Don't you think that creates a ripple effect, causing challenges for both the migrants themselves and for the international image?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. It's like dramatically turning the door on those who've established lives here for quite some time. It sends shockwaves not just inside the US, but across the world.
And when you mention international repercussions, what kind of fallout are we talking about? Well, it's going to fuel debates about human rights. Yeah, certainly.
Exactly. And it kind of forces the whole discourse on immigration reform into a corner where the rhetoric gets even more charged.
I see that. Do you think this is just a continuation of previous policies? Or is it something new and more aggressive?
It's like there's a pattern here. Trump's approach has always been about making bold moves, and this one just ups the ante, pushing the limits further than before.
Yeah, I get
but
that
it's
vibe.
Definitely more expansive in scope.
Right? And looking at it from the humanitarian side, it's almost as if these individuals are being used as pawns in a larger political chess game. Wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's like, imagine you're building a puzzle and half the pieces suddenly vanish. It creates a distorted picture of justice and opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. But here's something that puzzles me. Some argue that this decision is a necessary enforcement of immigration policies. What's your take on that?
I get that perspective. And there's a valid argument about national security and orderly immigration processes.
Wait, help me understand.
But at the same time, it feels like it disregards decades of lives built on the promise of a new start.
Right, it's like forcing a reset on people who have already integrated into society and contributed a lot.
Exactly. It's almost contradictory. I mean, from one angle, you're emphasizing law and order, and from another, you're ignoring the human side of the equation.
Absolutely. And don't you think that this crackdown might have unintended consequences? Economic, cultural, maybe even in terms of workforce impact?
Yes, it's like a domino effect. Removing a large group of established workers can lead to shortages in certain sectors. Think healthcare, construction,
that's true.
or hospitality. And culturally, it risks fracturing the fabric of communities that have grown around these populations for years.
Exactly. And that fracturing could ultimately unravel some of the social cohesion we take for granted.
Right, and sometimes policies like these, when implemented too abruptly, leave little room for adjustment or the kind of measured reform that might balance enforcement with integration.
I totally agree. While we're on that topic, one thing I've been thinking about, don't you wonder if such a drastic measure is more symbolic than practical? I mean, for over 500,000 people, is this more about sending a message than making a real change?
Yeah, it's like the political theater here is as big as a stage production. There's that message of toughness being broadcast as much as there's a real impact on people's lives.
That's a strong point. And there's also the question of sustainability, right? I mean, policies driven by political messaging can often lead to cycles of crackdowns and rollbacks.
Absolutely. It's like every time the political winds shift, you see this pendulum swing between harsh enforcement and then a period of relative leniency. It's almost cyclical.
Yeah, cycles indeed. This decision, then, might shine a light on the broader struggle over immigration reform in the U.S. It's not just about one group, but about a systemic issue.
Right, it's a microcosm, like a representation of deep-seated tensions within the immigration policies that have been in the works for, decades.
Exactly. And it raises a critical point. Are we, as a society, willing to compromise on humanitarian values for the mere sake of policy enforcement?
Yeah, it's a difficult balance. On the one hand, you want security and order. On the other hand, you have to consider fairness and compassion.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like trying to solve a puzzle where some pieces are missing even before you start. There's a risk of not seeing the full picture.
Absolutely. And it's not just a domestic issue. The international community watches these moves closely. It's like these policies can alter how allies and adversaries view the US on the global stage.
Right, that global perspective is key. And I'd say that this is where the debate gets really heated. Enforcement versus ethics. It's a clash between maintaining borders and preserving the dignity of life.
Exactly. And while some argue that strict policies are required to prevent illegal immigration, others see it as an erosion of long-standing humanitarian commitments.
I hear that. Honestly, it sometimes feels like the rhetoric overshadows the real issues at hand. There needs to be a more nuanced, balanced approach.
Right, and I'd even say that without that nuanced approach, such policies risk polarizing communities further, ultimately undermining long-term stability.
Definitely, that's a real concern. And that polarization is something we see time and again in political debates. Hardline measures can inadvertently deepen divides.
Exactly, and if you think about it, it's like there's an inevitable backlash when policies are too accelerated without room for empathy or reconciliation.
Yeah, I can see that. At the end of the day, this move might be seen as a strong political statement, yet it leaves the community in limbo. And that ultimately might force policymakers to revisit and revise these decisions down the line.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to watch how this unfolds, both within the US debates and on the world stage.
No doubt about it. For now, it serves as a stark reminder of how contentious and complex immigration policy can be, and how every decision, even one meant to be clear-cut, can end up being anything but simple.